Hello, Empowered Warriors. Welcome to episode 10. I made it into double digits in podcast land, and I am so excited. I am so grateful for all of you listeners that have been tuning in every week, and I really appreciate your support. And as you probably already know, the goal of this podcast is to get in as many ears as possible in order to help humanity grow and evolve to our highest potential. So please share this podcast with your friends and family, or tag me on Instagram at I am Angela Noel, that's with 2 L's and an E at the end, with your takeaways. This episode was actually recorded several months ago, about 3 weeks into the stay-at-home order in my home state of Massachusetts. So it was recorded at the end of March of 2020. Please note, I do usually keep pretty clean language here on the Empowered Warrior podcast, but there is some language on this episode that I had to use for emphasis. So please be aware if you're listening with your children. You know, it's interesting. This topic has been on my brain for the last couple of weeks. And I was kind of going through my old Facebook Lives today, just trying to figure out how I can repurpose content. And this one came up. And I was thinking, this would be perfect for a podcast episode. Now, I did this one, like I said, back in March in my private Facebook group, The Empowered Warrior with Angela Noel. And it was pretty well received. And I felt really good delivering this message. And I really am feeling called to send this message out again and just get it into the international space because I think it's really important. So I hope you don't mind that this episode has been repurposed. And actually, for you entrepreneur types, which I know there are many of you out there who follow me, you may or may not already know that creating content and being able to repurpose it many times is one of the most effective time-saving hacks out there. So if you didn't know it before, now you know it. I now use my Facebook Lives and my podcast to create social media content, etc., etc. So I'm not a social media strategist, but I felt that I needed to share that with you entrepreneurs out there. So in this episode, I discuss what a healing crisis is and how it relates to the current events of 2020. I do believe that we as humans on this planet are going through a huge shift. And overall, I believe this is a very exciting time for humanity's potential for growth and evolution. You may already be aware of what a healing crisis is, but if this is a new concept, let me just shed some light for you. Have you ever had a medical problem, whether it be pain, allergies, or something else, and found that as you started to treat the condition or address the condition, you felt worse before you felt better? Well, that is what is known as a healing crisis. As you begin to heal, you may feel worse for a little while. And that is what, in my interpretation, is actually happening globally on this earth with humanity. So for those of you who are, let's say, politically sensitive, I advise you to listen to this with an open heart and an open mind. This is by no means a political statement, but an invitation to look at things beyond the 3D interpretation of the world in order to see the big picture, in order to see what's really happening, and in order to view what's going on in the world from possibly a more positive angle. So you may or may not be aware at this point that I've shifted my focus of the business to help burned out business owners reclaim their yin and balance out their yang and own their worth so that they can achieve financial abundance and physical health. And in future episodes, my intention is to expand on what exactly yin and yang are, because while my audience probably already knows kind of what it means, chances are many people might need more context. But this episode will still be very useful because I really dive into talking about aligning with your higher self as a result of a shift in priorities given the current times. Just suppose for a moment that you've taken the message of this episode to heart and start implementing right away. Do I have you curious yet? What will your life, your health, and your business look like in a year compared to today if you do that? If you're like most successful people who take action, chances are life will surely be looking very different in a very positive way. So again, I invite you to sit back and take notes if you aren't driving, and consider how you want your life to look and feel from this day on. Do you want a life of abundance and prosperity? Or, if you're struggling, do you want to continue down the same path of fear and lack of self-worth and never feel completely free? So, warriors, stay tuned. Welcome to the Empowered Warrior Podcast. My name is Angela Noel, and I am an intuitive coach, acupuncturist, and Chinese herbalist. This podcast is all about empowerment, meaning how you can maintain your personal power in order to have the best life beyond your imagination. An empowered warrior is someone who has the identity of a person who is healthy, radiant, and free from all suffering, and has the tools ready and available to move through life's obstacles with confidence, ease, and a sense of freedom. In this podcast, I bring over 16 years experience in Chinese medicine, countless years of self-development, and a passion for helping others find their personal power. I will be discussing just a few of my favorite topics regarding health from a Chinese medicine perspective, brain habits, and spirituality, so that you can quickly pave your pathway to freedom and be free from the chains that have kept you stuck. My intention with this podcast is to serve as a guide for warriors who want to form a healthy foundation of body, mind, and spirit, and sustain it by changing who they are being from the inside and having a stronger connection to their higher selves. My goal is to help students end the unnecessary suffering that they place on themselves by having poor health habits, negative thought loops, and a lack of self-worth. I am so happy that you're here. Hi everybody, hi Inspirers, happy Tuesday. I hope that you're all doing well, that you're happy, healthy, and staying out of the news. How are you guys? I wanted to do just first of all to check in with you and see how you're all feeling. I don't know, I asked my husband today, I was like, how long have we been doing this now? Like, how long have we been on lockdown? He's like, I don't know, so I think it's been about 3 weeks. So, I've been thinking a lot about some things. I'm hearing a lot about when things go back to normal. When things go back to normal, then we can set up our coffee date, or when things go back to normal, I look forward to seeing my friends. And those are all really good things to look forward to. I am really looking forward to that too. I'm looking forward to going back to my gym and exercising in my gym and seeing the people that work in the gym and just be around a group of people working out. That is very exciting to me. I'm looking forward to some sense of normalcy, because honestly, the energy that I feel pretty often is in the collective is just very intense often. And I would love to just feel this sense of calm coming from other people. In general, I've been pretty calm. This wouldn't have been the norm for me 5 years ago, 10 years ago, even 2 years ago for me to be this calm. But I've done a lot of work. I've done a lot of work to get there, and I do a lot of work every day to be in this state of calm. And everybody's different with what they're willing to change, what they're willing to do in their life in order to evolve and feel better and be on the right track, right? But as we're in this space of kind of the unknown, like really, no one really knows when we are going to go back to this normal. But I'm curious to know if any of you guys, and feel free to comment, have thought about like what is this normal going to look like? Is it going to look like how we remembered it? Is our life going to look exactly the same? And I think about this a lot. I was thinking about this morning, I drove my car to the dealer. It was during, I think I had to be there by 9. So I was on Route 2, which is a very, very busy road in my area. And there was no traffic. So I was on the road at 8:40 and there was absolutely no traffic. And normally it probably would have taken me at least probably double the amount of time that it took me, because that stretch of the road is just so congested during rush hour. And I've just been reminded every day to count my blessings. Every day is a gift. Every day there's an opportunity to do something or try something that maybe I wouldn't have considered doing if my schedule was full, if I had my blinders on. Every day is a gift. And I've really just been really introspective lately in thinking about this whole normal thing. And what I've realized and what I'm sensing and feeling is that our normal, I don't think it's going to be the same. I feel that we are forever changed because of this. And if you're sensing or feeling something the same or not, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Like, what are you sensing with this normal? Like, is it going to be we're back to these schedules where we can barely keep up? Like, when was the last time that you were able to get together with a friend and your friend was available? Like, first try. Like, how amazing is that? I really think, and I'm going to reference something that I use in my clinic a lot with my patients. It's this concept, I think it comes from sociology, known as a healing crisis. And a healing crisis is when you are on the path to healing and there's a few bumps in the road. It's the concept that you need to feel worse before you feel better. And we're right now, I believe, in a healing crisis. We as humanity are in a healing crisis. And here's why I think that. We have been given plenty of warning to slow down through, some of the stuff we're seeing in the planet, to diseases that show up as a result of always being stressed out, to the results of eating food on the go. We've been given warnings, right? Everything, all the information, now here, I'm going to go a little out there for some of you, but this is what I do, right? We're cosmic beings. We are energy. We are just energy manifested as human beings. And we are all able to be intuitive. We're all able to see exactly what it is that we need. And we have been given the signs for so long that we need to slow the fuck down, right? Take a chill pill. Chill out, enjoy life. All these things that, there's millions of memes, right? That send this message, and everyone's like, yeah, I agree with that. I get that, right? But what do? We turn around and we continue living the same way that we were living. It's almost like it's who we are. It's our habit system right now. It's what we've been taught. It's what society values, right? Society values this very masculine, go, 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 right? Like it's a man's world. Well, that's shifting. We're shifting into the feminine. We're shifting into a totally new paradigm that's going to look very, very different. And I think it's been happening very gradually, right? It's not something that's happened overnight. But this is sort of the universe's way of saying, wake up, wake up. So some of you have heard this story before. This is one of my favorite stories. It often can trigger a few people when they hear this, because if you're a very political person, I'm apolitical now. I used to be very more into politics and all that. I used to get more fired up than I do, but in the last 1 or 2 years, I'm pretty apolitical. I don't want to put my energy there anymore. Like, I believe that things are here for a reason and to teach us lessons. So back in 2016, we can all remember probably what happened. If you're American, on November 9th, I met with my shaman for the first time. And November 8th was election day. Okay, in case if I didn't have this experience, I would have forgotten. So November 9th, I met with my shaman. It was my first meeting with her. And talk about things just being in divine timing. It was not an accident. She comes to me, she answers the door, and she says, "How are you doing?" And I was like, I probably looked like hell worn over, right? I felt like every other, especially if you're a woman, man too, I felt like shit. I felt like I had a hangover, like I was drinking the night before. I felt sick. I felt dejected. I felt disempowered because of who won the election. And a lot of people that are in my spiritual circle, they kind of knew that this was going to happen. I've learned later, like they're like, yes, like I always knew that he would win. So she said, and here I'm thinking, she's a shaman, right? She's on my side. She's, she thinks like me because she's spiritual. And she's like, she looks at me and she's like, "I'm going to tell you something, Angela. I've never been more thrilled about the results of this election." And I was like, what are you talking about? And I'm like thinking, who is this person, right? This is a shaman? Like, who is she? Like, why is she a Trump supporter? She said, I don't remember how she said it, but she's like, "I don't necessarily like the man, but he is the person that we need in office right now. He is the person who's going to shift humanity. Humanity needs to wake up." And if Hillary had been in office, it would have been status quo. It would have been business as usual. People would have continued to be asleep, and no shifts would have happened, right? So, I kind of hopped on the political bandwagon for a while with my, anti-Trump posts and stuff like that. And then I realized, after I was working with this person for about 2 years, and I would check with her every once in a while, like when Trump cut funding to the EPA. That really got me, right? Because I'm into the environment, and that's kind of my thing. And I'd say, "Shaman," her name's Manya. "Manya, how are you feeling about Trump?" And she'd be like, "I'm still thrilled. He's still doing the work. He's doing the work. He's making the shifts." And at this point, I think the Me Too movement started, and the Women's March, et cetera, et cetera. So that is my story. And that's I feel very blessed to have been given that perspective so early on. In my work with the shaman, I did so much inner transformation that it left me with this knowing that this is right. And look, how many people have stepped out? How many teenagers? How many kids, 18 years and older, voted in the primaries the last time, right? So much transformation has happened as a result. So let me ask you this, you guys. When we emerge from this quarantine, from this lockdown, what normal do you want to hold for yourself? Were you happy the way your life was before? And for some people, they might say, yeah, I love my life. And this might require some real journaling and looking within yourself and asking yourself the tough questions. Was I happy with my life before this happened? And how am I feeling today? How are you handling this quarantine day to day? I can tell you what I'm seeing. And I'm seeing the spectrum. I'm seeing people that are, maybe they're tuning out, they're numbing out. They don't want to know. They're using drugs, they're using alcohol, maybe too much TV, food. They're escaping, right? And then there are the people who are freaking out because they don't know if they're going to be able to buy groceries or if they're going to have a job tomorrow, right? Yes, these are scary times. There are people that are worried now, cases are coming out now where people are, cases of people that we know, right? Celebrities that we know that have COVID-19 testing positive. The United States has the highest cases in the world. We're number one. And I'm not one to really I espouse not to go and watch the news. I don't really listen to the news, but I do check the stats every once in a while just to stay on top of it. And so now, reality's sort of setting in, this thing's happening and it's affecting, there's not one single person that's going to walk away unaffected. And whether it be somebody that you know personally, or somebody that you know of, or because you lose your job or you lose your income, you lose your home. But here's the thing, and going back to the healing crisis that I spoke of earlier, in order for us to heal as a people, as a species, we need to go through a healing crisis. And that's exactly what this is right now. So what is your normal? Do you want to continue to work 60 to 80 hours a week? Do you want to be tied down to your phone and tablets? Do you want to be constantly on the go? All your kids' schedules are booked. Each kid is 6 activities in every single day, and you're just like a parent taxi. Do you always want to feel stressed and overwhelmed? And what if there is another crisis after this? How do you want to handle it the next time around? What if you get sick and you can no longer care for your children? What if you get sick and you don't live to know your grandchildren? What if something happens to you and you can't travel and go on that dream trip? So you guys, right now we are being asked to step up into the light and show the world who we truly are. But it starts with one person at a time. So if you want to see change in the world, and it's my favorite quote, one of my favorite quotes, I have a lot of favorite quotes. You want to be the change you want to see in the world. So if you want to see the world change, if you want to see politics shift, if you want to see people change their behaviors around pandemics, it starts with you, right? It starts with you, and it starts with having a healthy, strong foundation of your health, healthy body, healthy mind, and healthy spirit. And we are given the gift of time right now. I'm seeing my friends, friends that are normally off doing, they're just on the go all the time as a form of escapism. And they are staying home with their kids and doing puzzles. 1 puzzle a day, one of my friends said. This is somebody that doesn't have the patience to have a 2-minute conversation. And I love her dearly, but it's just who she is. It's just some things for you guys to think about. And, I truly believe in my inner being, when I think about all this going on, that this is a really exciting time and a time of a massive growth. But with growth comes a little bit of ugliness. And I'm not going to disregard those people that are suffering right now or having a hard time. And I'm seeing humanity at its best right now, people helping other people. This is who we are, truly. But I invite you to just answer some of those tough questions that I asked earlier. Who are you going to be if you don't change your way of being and we go back to normal and life is as it was, right? And you make the decision not to change because it's hard or whatever, or you try it and it's difficult. Where are you going to be a year from now, 6 months from now, 10 years from now, if you continue to hold on to these beliefs that are keeping you stuck? And with that said, I want to just offer you this. Another one of my favorite quotes in the world: everything always has, is, and will be okay. So what do you want? Do you want to have a lifetime of health and happiness and strength? Or do you want to have a lifetime of fear and stress and anxiety and not knowing if you're going to be alive for your grandchildren or if you're going to be able to take care of your children? What do you prefer? I hope that you guys are well. I wish you well. I wish you happiness. And I wish you peace. And I really appreciate you watching. Namaste. Thank you so much for listening to the Empowered Warrior podcast. It is an honor and a privilege to have you as a listener. If you've enjoyed listening to this podcast and would like to help others pave their pathway to freedom, end their disempowerment and suffering, and become an empowered warrior, please share this podcast with your friends and family. Also, it is my intention to help humanity grow and evolve to their highest potential. So if you really enjoy what you're hearing, please help me spread the word by leaving a review in iTunes. Thank you again, and I am so grateful to be able to serve you in this very exciting way.